November 21, and I give the glory and honor to praise to God the Father and His Son Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. And so in this dream, this is very relevant in our scenario right now, in our time in these last days. So in this bed, I was laying in bed with my daughter, and beside her, it seems like in a hospital or in a house, and she's in this dream, she's a little girl, and beside her was a nurse sharing bed with us. But then I was like saying, I have to turn my daughter sideways or around because I don't want her to get wet and I don't want her to get sick. That's what I was like saying. And then I was with my kids. We went outside this place, and with the other kids, and we went to these small trees. There's small trees with so many fruits, mango, pears, peaches, yellow, and we picked pretty big ones to eat, and went back on. We went back inside this place, and we sat on that. We sat on the table there, by the table. And so when we were like at the table, I said, let's sit down in this rectangular table, on the long rectangular table. So I was like seated down there with my children. And so when we were like sitting, a group of people came in this room, and they were like composed of very rich people, rich group organization. And I knew one of them. And instead of saying hi, I said, you know what, I just don't want to be bothering them. And this is what I said. So I stayed with the kids in the place because I said these rich people have nothing to do with us. So as we sat, I have one plate with rice. Another group of people came in and sit, and there's a lot of them. And then one of them was actually the pastor I know, including his wife. They sat down there around the table where we're sitting at. Because remember, we're sitting in a long rectangular table. And so I close my eyes, so I'm going to pray for the blessing of my food. And so when I open my eyes, I noticed that the food, the plate that I had in order for me and my children to eat, the pastor took it and and put the plate in front of him, and he was like shoving himself to it. There's a lot of members that goes along with this pastor, so there's a lot of members in this place. So though they were together with him, right? But it's only the pastor who was like eating. And I was so upset because that food is actually intended for me and my children, one plate to share. But then he took it to eat, to eat only himself. Okay, the other people are just watching. So it's like, if you think about it, a lot of people, even if we're poor, we're giving tithes to the church, and then that's the only money that we have. And what are the shepherds doing to the poor in their community? You think about it, they're buying luxurious things. So let's continue. Then after that, I said, I'm trying to tell him that the food is mine, but he's ignoring me. And the other was like, was like telling me, let him have it. He's feeding himself good. And I saw his wife covered with black headdress, covering her face with black clothes, like totally in black, covered like this headdress and with black dress. So it's like she's mourning, right? So I was like asking my other daughter, you know, and other sibling, I was like telling them, go get your other sibling because we have this lost sheep. And so I was like telling them to go, but the eldest daughter was like, she's talking, she's busy doing her thing. And so I decided, so this is what I said. So I asked one lady, my daughter, to go get her sister, my lost sheep, right? To bring her back. But the sister was busy talking. So there's two-person I asked, but they were not yet back. So I decided to go, but the pastor, who is the fake shepherd, is stopping me. Remember, I was asking somebody to talk. Remember, Jesus was sending, uh, God bless you, Ira Bim. Praise be to God. I've been sick for several days. And just bear with me. And I'm praying to the Lord that I will be able to finish this. Because there's a good message that the Lord's trying to tell each and every one of us. So me and my husband, it's my husband's birthday right now. But he's actually sick laying down in another bedroom. I'm actually sick. And so anyway, God bless you. And so anyway, I sent the sister. She is so busy. I sent two more people to bring the lost sheep back, but they were not back. So I wanted to go out myself. And then the pastor stopping me. He don't want me to go. And he wants me to stay while he's shoving his mouth with food. You know, he's feeding himself. He just wanted me to stay and he's shoving himself with food. And he's the only one eating around the rectangular table. I was so upset. So I stood and said, "No, I'll go look for my daughter." I stood and left and went to the street. I screamed and called my lost sheep. Then someone told me this girl was lost there. So someone was pointing, we saw a lost girl there. So I went and saw a lot of poor kids. But my daughter is not there. I saw this girl. She's not my daughter. But she's hungry too. Take note, okay? Literal and spiritual thirst. And poor. Poor in the spiritual sense and literal sense. And hungry spiritually and literally. So the woman said, "Why don't you tuom?" It's actually like suggesting a witchcraft kind of way. You know, it's like you have to let them undergo a burning coal. So it's a witchcraft kind of activity. So there's people there also that are actually doing witchcraft, that are supposed to be taught with the words of God. And then she was like saying, "Let her go too, so she will eat well." So she will be eating the words of God or listening to the words of God well. So instead of doing that witchcraft activity, pray for that kid, feed them with the words of God. So I was rushing. I can't find her, so I went to the market. And this is so biblical, right? So I went to the market screaming her name. I went to the swamp area. I can't find her. I went to the computer place. I can't find her either. And I was thinking of calling 911. We know the 911 literal and spiritual. There are few kids who help me point to the marketplace, to the computer area where kids are too. They are on the street kids. There's a lot of kids also staying in there that instead of listening to the words of God, they're playing, spending it to nonsense. Then I saw myself cleaning the sink and removable toilet and sit spraying with water hose, and behind me, see, in this dream I was cleansing this sink and the toilet, cleanse them. So it's like, the words of God is actually, to cleanse us. And so behind me was a movie theater. And so I went in to this dark movie theater and I stepped, where the screen was. And it seems like they're waiting for me for an announcement. So I grabbed the microphone and I told them, the spotlight was on me, and I told them, when they go home, help me to look for my lost sheep. And then I woke up. Brothers and sisters, listen to the words of God. The Lord said in Jude 1, verse 3 to 4, "Dear friends, although I was very eager to write to you about the salvation we share, I felt compelled to write and urge you to contend for the faith that was once for all entrusted to God's holy people. For certain individuals whose condemnation was written about long ago have secretly slipped in among you. They are ungodly people who pervert the grace of our God into a license for immorality and deny Jesus Christ, our only sovereign and Lord. So you see, there's actually a lot of fake pastors and ministers out there that they were just there because they know they can make money. Some of them, they used to really wanted to serve God, but then when they were exposed to so much money, they changed. They're like thinking instead of hey, saving one lost soul is important in the eyes of God. But when they have a lot of money coming in, they're not thinking about saving soul anymore. They're thinking about how much money that they should come in. And so they were redirected, they were deceived by the devil. We all know in these last days, we Christians should be watching and protecting our family, our, especially our family and ourselves. We should be teaching and guiding, reminding and praying for one another and for ourselves and for our family members. As I saw my daughter sleeping in the same bed with another nurse, I turned her so she don't get sick. It's like trying to tell us brothers and sisters, they need they need to be turned. It's like turning them away from sin so that they don't get sick, so that they don't die, so that they will be healthy, because the words of God is actually our bread of life and living water that is nourishing us. And so in Second Chronicles 7:14, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and heal their land. Imagine if the people in the place are sinning, including the ground that they're living in, are actually cursed, you know? And so we don't want to do that. And so, brothers and sisters, Jesus heals the sick. He said, go and sin no more. People who live in sin, they get sick, but the Lord will rescue them and heals them if they call upon his name. In John 5:14, verse 15, afterwards, Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, look, you have been made well. Sin no more, lest a worse thing happen to you. In Psalm 147, verse 3, Jesus, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. A lot of people, brothers and sisters, are actually committing sin because of certain rebellion or sometimes because of heartache. Some people who are actually divorced by their husband or divorced by their wife, they started to be, sleeping with anybody else. And, other women, when they're like told that they're so ugly and they were like abandoned by their husband, instead of marrying another man, they have hatred with men, so they actually stay with women, and some men are doing the same thing. And so, but if we pray and pray for them, that the Lord will open their eyes to see the truth, and so that they will wake up and repent from their sins, the Lord will actually restore them, and heal their broken heart, so that they will really know what true love is. And it's coming from God. Other people might not love you, old people might not love you, but Jesus and God don't fail. He loves us so much. And so, it's that's what the Lord said in Psalm 147, verse 3. Jesus heals, or he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Whatever pain that they have in their hearts, it will be gone and be removed. I had that long time ago, remember? And so the Lord, it's only God who can heal those pains. And so in Jeremiah 30, verse 17, but I will restore you to health and heal your wounds, declares the Lord, because you are called on an outcast, Zion, for whom no one cares. I truly believe that our prayers are heard by God. That if we continually pray for our children who are broken-hearted, who are sick, who are sinning, the Lord will hear and answer our prayer. And so, and the Lord will heal them. In Exodus 23:25, worship the Lord your God, and His blessings will be on your food and water.